I've gone into an argument with this person online once, and she decided to post my stuff on the internet when I politely had asked her not to. And I said,
Mhm.
I don't think children should medically transition until 18. That's what I said. And then she just got really mad and called me a devil's recruiting activist. And I said,
Hey everybody, I caught myself another one. Super excited today because I have this very interesting person who reached out to me. So I get very lucky with these interviews sometimes. I mean, most all of them, actually, all of them. I get very lucky with people like who we're going to interview today. So before we move forward, I just want to thank everybody again for always watching the videos, helping me really move them up. It's been difficult. I have a feeling that YouTube is not liking me lately, but whatever. We'll keep doing this. And like, subscribe, send it to your friends, ring that bell thing, and everything's going to be great for all of us. So today we have a guest here who I'm going to let introduce themselves, and then we're going to move forward with an awesome interview. So Coda, why don't you introduce yourself, and then we'll move forward.
hello there, my name is Coda, and I'm a trans man, and I live in Canada.
In Canada. How old are you?
18.
18, right on. And then who's sitting next to you?
This is my mother, right
Hey,
here.
mom.
Hello.
Hi, Mom. I would love for
Hi.
you to also be part of the conversation if that's okay. If not,
No
that's okay.
problem.
Great,
Yeah.
great. I appreciate that so much. So, how amazing. We have a young trans man here from Canada today with his mother, and we're going to talk a little bit about his transition and the things that are going on in the younger space and other things that Coda reached out to me actually and is giving me his time. So I very much value this interview a lot. So with that, Coda, let's talk about a little bit about your transition. Can you tell us when you started to transition?
Okay. I think I'm turning into a little bit of a trapper here because I'm starting to forget things.
Right on.
Um, so I think it was a little over 2 years ago.
Okay. So 16 years old, right?
Yes.
Yep. And tell me a little bit about how that process worked for you. How did you realize that you possibly were trans? And did you go to therapy or what happened?
Yes, lots of therapy.
Lots of therapy. And so what was the sort of thing that sort of got you thinking to yourself, maybe I'm a trans man?
Well, it was actually not anything to do with anyone or anything on the internet. I
Okay.
just I knew what the word trans meant,
Mhm.
but I didn't, think about it. And then I thought I was a lesbian. Then I thought I was bi. And then I said, okay, there's something a little off here because I'm feeling very distraught about my, what, right?
Yep. Yep.
And
About
I was
about your
getting very
body? Was it your
suicidal and
body?
yes, like
Hmm.
my gender.
Hmm. Okay.
And
Yeah.
I was really upset, and also I'm autistic, so that adds on to it.
Okay. So you have autism.
Yes,
When were you diagnosed with autism?
at age 4.
At age 4. Oh, interesting. I'm
Yes,
going to go to your mom now. So, hey, mom, thanks for joining us. I very much
no
appreciate it
problem.
very so much for this conversation. So, tell me a little bit about what happened with Coda and why he got a diagnosis of autism. Could you?
Yeah, I, I guess at where he's preschool, he was
Mhm.
going to therapy because he walked quite late.
Okay.
So he was put into a specialized program
Mm.
to help him with walking and stuff like that. And so
Okay.
while being there, he did also did some preschool there as well because they do up from preschool up to kindergarten as
Okay.
well as helping kids that need help with walking and disabilities.
Okay.
And they are the ones that possibly noticed it.
Uh,
That Coda seemed very distant. He did some pacing a lot in the classroom, um, things like
okay.
that. He didn't have
Right.
what he was just very different from
Sure.
the other kids. Sure.
Sure. So then he got a diagnosis of autism at 4 years old.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
did testing, and he had to wait about a year before they did some
Okay.
testing, and they did some testing and watched him
Okay.
and discovered he would had a form of autism. So
So tell me, after he got the, or are you more, because four is not really kind of understanding things as much as as the parent. So tell me, after he got that diagnosis, did that help you as a parent sort of understand what was going on?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And,
At first, I was a little bit confused about it, but
yeah.
yeah, it did help.
Okay. And so now I'm wondering, after the diagnosis and all of those things, and I'm starting to learn more about autism because I'm starting to see more and more people being sort of diagnosed with that. And it seems to me in the trans community and the younger generation, like his age, that there tends to be a lot more these days young people with autism and identifying as trans. Do you both see that?
I've
Yes.
heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Coda, going back to you, you see more young people, maybe your age or that, or
Yes.
who who are identifying as autistic. Yeah.
Yes. And the thing that scares me though is that if a person wants to medically transition, I don't
Mhm,
care if this person's an adult or a child, they need
mhm.
to go through therapy first.
Great. Thank you.
And
I
that's for
appreciate.
anybody, right?
That's right. I appreciate you saying that, kiddo.
And
Tell me a little bit about how long you went through therapy.
oh my gosh, quite a while. And the doctor asked me a lot of questions, and he said, "Are you sure it's not related to your disability?" And I said, "Well, I think it's really would be helpful for me because it's helped me a lot to level out myself a lot
Mhm,
and not to feel so constantly anxious."
mhm.
When I took the
Great.
hormones, I started to notice the relieving of the dysphoria. I mean, we all still have anxious days, but that's just a normal part of life.
You started the hormones when you were
That's
18.
right.
I started the
So tell.
hormones when I was 18.
Oh, so you started the hormones when you were 18. Oh,
Yes.
thanks, mom. Yeah, yeah, no, that was going to be my next question. So you went through maybe a couple years of therapy, it seems like, and that therapist, well, we have this in America. I don't know if you have it in Canada. It's called affirmation therapy. I think you might have it as well, where if you come in and say you're trans, you're immediately stamped and no therapy, really, and you're just given hormones. But that doesn't seem like that was your case. It seems to me like you
No.
actually had to go through some therapy.
Yes.
Yeah. And so tell me a little about that during the time you were going through therapy. The therapist was questioning your sort of idea that you might be trans. Yeah.
Yes. He didn't say that it wasn't true. He
Hmm.
just called me he called me that. But we
Okay.
also went through like a lot of screening.
Like I
Right.
was wondering the
That's what
same
I'm
thing.
trying to get to. That's what I'm trying to get to. And what I want the outside world to see from these interviews is that, you need this sort of intense
I
space
agree.
of therapy. Yep. Thank you,
I
mom.
agree
Thank you, mom. I
totally.
appreciate that. I mean, I do as an older person, and I get called old because but I'm more of a structure. I believe this needs to have a structure. And to me, you went through kind of what I went through, which was
Yes.
it's
And
considered gatekeeping, right?
if children need to medically transition, we need to have a lot more resources for anybody because if we start putting hormones into people's body, bad things do happen
Thank you.
and
I
good
mean,
things.
of course, there's always pros and cons to everything, but here's the problem I have with a young person. And you're 18, you can make those choices. I'm going to say that. I
Yes.
still feel that, everyone's different. And that's what we're not having this. Just because one person feels trans or doesn't mean that that person is. Or, I think we're not having this sort of space where it says just because you say you're trans does not make you trans. I don't believe that. But you went through therapy and you did a lot of work on yourself to get to the space. So tell me now you're on testosterone and how are you feeling?
Great.
And what does that mean great to you?
That I'm growing a beard like Grandpa, and
Right on. And I want to know more about your mental. So, I do know that the physical connects to the mental. And when you see yourself in the mirror now and you see yourself getting facial hair, how does that make you feel?
Good.
Yeah. So it makes you kind of feel more at ease walking the
Yes.
street. Hmm. Right.
Yes.
How is your autism doing?
It's doing okay.
Hmm. You feel like your autism is a little less, or I don't really know how that works, and I apologize if I'm
No,
saying it
no,
wrong. Yeah,
it's it's not wrong. I think it's a good way to ask it, but I think it's just leveled out.
it's leveled
The
out.
dysphoria
Fantastic.
and the autism. Sometimes it if one levels out, it'll help the other one to level out. I think.
Right. That's right. I totally,
But
I
I
totally.
told. Sorry. I told Coda that they should wait before they do
Mhm.
any kind of intervention with when it comes to putting the hormones and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Just wait a
Yeah.
while.
So with that, Mom. So you said for him to wait to start any medical intervention, and that's why is that one of the reasons why he did wait till 18?
At least he's an adult. He can make more decisions.
Hmm. What about
I would have
surgery?
preferred later, but
Well, yeah. I mean, I understand that it's a difficult thing. So now you're on testosterone, Coda. You're on testosterone, right?
Yes.
And and so how long now has it been that you've been using testosterone?
Maybe almost a year.
Oh, 1 year. So tell me about the changes that are going
The
on, the
voice,
physical
the voice, and a lot
voice.
of body hair
Hmm.
yeah.
and acne.
Weirdly, I didn't get acne, which is weird, but might have been because I'm older. When I transitioned, I was like 30 years old. But I don't
And
know
I'm
if it's
also planning to get surgery.
okay. Yeah, let's talk
Hysterectomy.
about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about surgery. What's the thing that you want to do right now?
I'm getting a hysterectomy in six
That's
months.
the first thing you're going to do is a hysterectomy.
Yes.
Not the other one.
No, because the other one is going to cost like 2 years to wait because it is funded here for trans people, but it's going to wait like 2 years.
For you mean to get your breasts removed?
Yes.
Yes. So that's a 2 year waiting list
Yes.
because it's funded by the government.
Yeah.
Right, because you have socialized medicine. So, wow, doesn't that shock you that there's a 2 year wait for that?
Yes.
How is that possible?
I don't know.
That says to me, there's a lot of people who want to take their breasts off, which means they're all female to male trans people. A 2 year
Yes.
wait. And that's so. Let me ask you this question: can anybody go to use your medical space in Canada? Can anybody go there who states they're trans and have what we call top surgery, or do you need a note from a doctor?
There has to be a variety of referrals. There has to be
Okay.
a variety of questions,
Okay.
and the doctor will ask you many, many questions,
Okay.
and you can go as much therapy as you need, but you're responsible for scheduling and scheduling all the appointments and all that,
Okay.
all the other yada. But
Mhm.
yeah, you're basically responsible for yourself, right? Which is you are, right? When you're an adult, you're responsible for your own
That's right.
therapy.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so that's why a lot of people have to wait, is also because, there's people with breast cancer that have to go always first, right, to take their
Okay,
breasts off
great.
if they need to do that.
Okay, great. That's great to know that they're putting people who have cancer or some other kind of form of illness ahead of trans top surgery. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. They should. I mean, even though some people will push back on me and say that it's an illness as well and we need our top surgery, but it's not life threatening.
No.
Right. Some people will tell us that it's life threatening if they don't have their breasts removed, they're going to kill themselves. Do they say that in Canada too?
I don't,
No.
Let me give you an example. Here in America, they're pushing hormone blockers, puberty blockers on children here, and they're
I
using
don't
the
like
I
that idea.
yeah, that's right. So they're using this idea that if a child doesn't get their medicine, they'll kill themselves. They say that all the time here, which isn't true. Do they say that in Canada?
I don't hear them say it.
Okay, good.
A child, if they absolutely need puberty blockers, then they have to do it because if they're very, like, if, let's say they're very dysphoric and they're going through many years of therapy, then yes, take it. I would personally probably push back on it, but if that's what they feel they need to do and the parents are informed and that's their decision, right? I can't stop people from making their own decisions.
That's right.
But
That's right.
here they do push back a lot.
Oh, they do. That's interesting to know. I actually thought it was as bad as America. Well, see, I do have issues with puberty blockers. I'm not sure a 10-year-old even understands what dysphoria is in a sense that it's so bad that, I mean, there's many problems with giving puberty blockers. There's long-term
Yeah,
health
I mean,
problems.
if the kid is really dysphoric and is diagnosed by a doctor and needs to do it, then I can't stop people from giving it to their kids, right? I mean, because they're the legal guardians, they know what's best, and that's where people need to understand that parents know the kids best.
Definitely agree with you. I am a parent. So I definitely agree with you that parents definitely need to be part of this process. So here in America, they're blocking parents from having any access to their children at schools. If the child wants to be trans, they don't have to tell their parents and they can keep it a secret at school. Is that the same in Canada?
I think so.
It is?
Well, I
Oh
know
my
that
gosh.
you don't have to tell them. They have
Right.
GSA groups like the Gay Straight Alliance in the schools. The kid doesn't have to tell them.
I mean, it is encouraged, though.
Right. But by it's encouraged, but they don't have to do it. And so can the teachers let's say you, Coda, tell your teacher and you're 15, but you'd say, I don't want to tell my parents. Can the teachers keep that a secret from the parents?
I've never been in that scenario, so I don't
Okay.
really know.
Okay.
But I think that they would ask questions as to why you don't want to tell your parents.
Right.
Like,
But that's
maybe-
not happening here. That's not happening. The teacher is just supposed to keep it away from the parents. Now they're
Yeah, they do
saying,
that.
well, come on, let's be honest. There are parents who are gross and horrible and abusive to their kids, but that's very few and far as I'm concerned. Every parent needs to be, when it comes to transitioning your child, even 18, Coda, I'm going to say you're still a kid to me. But that being said, even that, to me, the parent should be involved. I don't understand why they wouldn't want a parent involved in a very life-changing choice. That's why I love seeing your mom here, Coda. I think that says a lot to me about your family and that they care about you.
Yeah, and I think that goes for any age. If you're going to transition, you might as well tell your family because one day if you walk into a store and they see you like that, they're going to question what you're doing.
Which isn't a good thing. I mean, it's like you have to be involved in this, and it makes it a healthier space. It seems like you and your mom have an excellent relationship.
Yes, and I always tell people, I don't talk about a lot about politics on my page, about the transitioning of the kids and stuff. I just try to create a loving environment
Fantastic.
for everyone.
Of course, that's what it's all about. We're just trans. It's not everything who we are. I mean, you're going to go on. So tell me what you're doing now with yourself. Are you in school?
Yes,
And
I'm going
are you?
into to finish my upgrading and then going into nursing.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's everybody out there. That's what I'm talking about. I just want you to be happy. And if, this transition helps you move forward and creates a space for you to understand, trans is just a condition you have, but it's about being, Coda and finding a space in the world that you can
And people
be
don't always
somebody.
understand that just because a child could be trans, that doesn't mean they're going to medically transition because not everybody does.
That's right. That's right.
There
That's
are
why I
some people
distinguish. Sorry.
that, my goodness, that they maybe a boy, but then they dress like a girl and you don't even realize that they were born males.
There you
Yeah, I
go.
have an issue with that sometimes.
But if they
Yeah.
dress fully like female and you don't realize what they're doing and they shave their beard and everything, then maybe there is no need for them to go on hormones if they feel that that is not
Yeah,
needed for them. So that's why we have to be careful with what we're putting on the mainstream media, is that everyone's on hormones.
that's
Not
right.
everybody is.
No, not everybody is. So I agree with you. And it's, you know, I do make a distinction, I'm sure you know, between a transsexual person. I would probably consider you more of a transsexual person than a transgender, but that's your choice. But I only do that for helping myself to distinguish the difference between somebody who could be trans but isn't necessarily wanting to take that medication, but they identify as trans. You know, I don't identify as a trans. I identify as a man who has a condition called gender dysphoria, who
I
is
call
a
myself a
transsexual.
transsexual male.
There you go. So we're very much the same. And I think we have a lot, and it's really refreshing, Coda, to see a young person like you who really does see that we have to be careful with what we put out there as trans people. So, what do you think about people who don't make any effort to look like a male or a female, but want people to use pronouns?
I don't see how that's logical. It's like, if you're gonna look like a female and gonna call yourself a male, don't get mad at people for calling you a female, because that's what logically comes to mind.
Thank you. God, you're a smart
I'm gonna
kid. I mean, I mean, you know, I out there, I'm not laughing at people. I'm laughing at the situation. It just seems
Oh, I
so
feel
know.
absurd.
scary because some people make threats online, you know.
No, you're
You
right,
don't
Mom. Yep,
let them use the female bathroom because whatever, they're male. I
Like,
call them, some of them male because they sound it. They're trying
that's
to be
right.
female but not really good at it. And they make threats, you know. Oh, you gotta let me in there, and or else
Yeah,
there's gonna be some problems. And I'm just like, well,
I think we need to get rid of all bathrooms that have multiple stalls, and just where one person goes in and shuts the door.
there you go. That's right. Like an airplane. I always use the airplane as an example because I fly a lot. I'm like, nobody ever bitches about the airplane toilet. A man was just in there. Then a woman just went in. Then a man just went in, right? Like nobody cares. And so that to me can show you that you're right, Coda. If we make just single stall toilets, anybody can use it. There's places in Europe that are like that. And I'm surprised Canada isn't more about that.
they're coming along. They have a lot of single bathrooms in a
Great.
lot of places now. So
So I'm going to be on agreement with you, Mom. I don't necessarily think a person who looks like a man or is biologically male but identifies as a woman should be using the woman's room. That's just inappropriate on me. I don't care how you identify. It's uncomfortable for women. So do you see what I see, Coda and Mom? That there's this desire to push this trans narrative on top of
Yes.
yes, it
everybody.
drives me
Yes.
crazy.
Yes,
Yeah,
and that's why I think we should make single stall bathrooms for people who are non-binary, because
excellent.
people that nobody's going to care if you have a dress uh,
No,
and a beard if it's just one stall thing and you walk the door and you get the heck out when you're done.
that's right. That's right.
And
And mhm.
the sport thing is a problem too, right? Because when you put a biological male with the female, what do you think's going to happen? They're going to sprint.
That's right.
And
That's
so
right.
we need to create different categories, in my opinion.
In my opinion, too, because we're not all the same. And again, let's go back to there might be some trans identifying people who don't want to medicalize and look like a man or a woman, but they're different than me and you. And so, what do we do with those people? We can't lump them in with us because me and you are being very respectful to men and women and understanding that we're sort of asking to coexist and to move forward and sort of be a part of. But those people, I feel like they don't want to be a part of. I feel like they want to cause problems.
Yeah, and we got to be careful with what we read on the internet too, because sometimes those people that are on the internet, there's a whole bunch of crap that goes on, and you don't know what people are saying. And
Yeah.
we have to respect a lot of detransitioners in America too.
Oh,
It's
thank
really,
you.
really sad.
Oh, gosh, you're such a great kid. You know, it's sad. You know that. I interview a lot of the detrans. So tell me about that in your country. Are there
It's
detransitioners
not
in
really
Canada?
talked about because there's a lot of therapy. And if
Oh,
people do
Mhm.
detransition, a lot of Canadians are very supporting.
wow, that's
I
great to
don't know.
hear. Sorry, Mom?
I personally don't know much about it, but
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know.
So,
Nobody's ever,
yeah.
I haven't heard stories from Canada yet, but
Hmm.
we'll have to wait and see.
But
Well, it's inevitable.
a lot of my GSA friends say that if they do detransition, we need to support them. We need to love them, right?
Wow,
Which
great.
is very
Beautiful.
good. I mean,
We hope so. I
Excellent.
hope. I don't know about everybody else would doing the same thing though in Canada. There's a lot of people here that are kind of negative towards trans too.
Yeah. Of course. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I lived 30 years this way, and I have never felt more hated, for a lack of a better word, than now. And that's weird to me. And I do think it comes from trans activism, pushing some kind of agenda onto the rest of the world to accept
That's
us
what
or
I was
your.
telling my son to Coda. Like I don't know much. I've known
blurt out
about
my
the
name.
term. So that's what I was trying to say to
Mhm.
Coda that years ago. I mean, there was always transsexuals, and
That's
there was
right.
not a problem like this. I've never
That's
heard
right.
it being a problem where they're fighting over bathrooms, and I think we just respected each other, and we were either male or female, right?
That's
You went
right.
one to the other, not in betweens.
That's right.
Not half a beard and half a dress. I don't get it. I don't get that at all. But that's my opinion. I can't figure
And you're
out why.
allowed to. Well, that I want your opinion, and it's my opinion too. So just so you know, I make an
I
effort
just
to
think
look
it's
this
crazy.
way. Do you think
Well,
anyone would ever question if I went in the men's room?
Nope.
no, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. How about if I went in the women's room?
Mm.
So that's the whole point of being a transsexual. We don't want people to point us out. We want to slide in and slide out. But that's not what's happening now. It's more like, look at me. I'm a woman in a beard and I'm using the ladies' room. It's like that. What are you doing?
No. No.
Like, that's going to confuse people. Like, that's why I say we need to create just one thing where nobody goes in, where one person goes in and gets the heck out.
Yeah, but like your mom said, we used to always go into the bathroom and no one cared. Now all of a sudden it's a huge political
Yeah, that's
agenda.
that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Like
that's
even
right.
5
It's
or
made a
10.
lot of real trans people
Hmm.
look bad.
That's right.
And I
Like
said, it's
me
not, it's never
and
like
your
this
son.
before. What the hell? You know?
That's right. Like me and your son. We're me and him are put in this space now where we have to be like, well, wait a minute. We're trying to just be ourselves here. We don't want to be a part of this, but because we
And
are trans,
Marcus. And Marcus. And
Marcus is a great friend. Yep, that's
I've
right.
known
Lots of
trans
us.
people that have been in sports here,
Oh God.
and I mean, it's supposed to be a all-inclusive sport, but you tell someone you're trans, and then all of a sudden everybody knows that you're trans.
that's
Like,
what happened to me. I was playing a sport with Special Olympics,
Okay.
and it's men and women together. And
Okay.
I outed that I was trans, and I talked about it quite briefly because I'm autistic. I can't hold my thoughts in. And
Okay.
somebody got really mad and called the coach, and I was in a lot of
outed.
problems.
Oh no. So you were playing in the sports. Oh, you're playing as in the boys team, right?
It, it,
No,
it's all
it's
inclusive.
it's a
Oh, it's all
special
inclusive. I
Olympics.
get it. Okay. But if it's all inclusive, then I don't
I
understand why
think
they got
parents are
upset.
worried about trans people. They
There
think
you
that
go.
they're bad and they're gonna do something to their kids or whatever,
There you go. That's it.
or
Thank you.
something like that.
No, you're right. That's exactly it. Now I get it. So that's the problem with these other people creating a problem for people like us. Because no one would have had a problem with you, Coda, 5 or 10 years ago. Nobody would have had an issue with it at all. But now people
No,
see
it's
us
just
as a
different.
threat.
They think that you're gonna use the same change rooms as them,
That's right. That's
but
right.
this sport though that was soccer. So these people are
And
coming from
basketball.
home already into their clothes, and they're going
Hmm.
back home into their
Right.
same clothes. So I don't understand the problem there. But
It was
anyways,
for basketball and for soccer, and I think a lot of people they had special needs children there, so I think they're very worried about what's going on because there's a
Yeah,
lot of craziness
There's,
happening.
that's because of the this crazy ideology. It's driving
that's
people
right.
crazy.
That's right. No,
Yes,
that's right.
exactly.
It just makes me angry.
And what I want people to know is that in the real trans community, get off this crazy internet thing and go and talk to real people.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah, I swear,
so
like the coach told us she got like 1,000 phone calls that day. The day that Coda said something to someone, and
mhm,
I don't know if someone heard, but they went and
mhm.
spread it around that
What?
Coda was
Because I
trans.
was
Trans?
talking to myself out loud a little bit. I have
Okay.
autism,
So
but
someone
Okay.
heard it. I don't know. People eavesdrop. You know what I mean?
Oh
They
my
don't mind their own
God.
business.
No kidding. But that's what I'm trying to get at and what you're trying to get at. Now people hear trans and they freak because they think it's going to indoctrinate their own kids or something weird is going to, or you're a weirdo because you're
it's
trans because
creating
there's
more
so many
transphobia.
weirdos. That's actual transphobia. That is actual transphobia. But I'm going to say this, and this is very controversial because you know me, I'm very controversial because I say what I want to say. But that being said, I think the trans rights activists are the ones who created this problem for us. So they've made people,
Exactly.
Yeah,
yes, they've
it's
made people fearful of us.
Yes. And I always tell people, like I've gone to an argument with this person online once, and she decided to post my stuff on the internet when I politely had asked her not to. And I said,
Mhm.
I don't think children should medically transition until 18. That's what I said. And then she just got really mad and called me a devil's recruiting activist. And I said, hang on.
I know. It's crazy.
And I said, just hang on, hang on, hang on. You know,
It is funny,
like
but
if a
it's
kid
stupid.
needs to socially transition, that is a little bit more reversible than medical.
You think? That's
Right?
That's
right.
always. It's kind of funny what people say when I said a devil. What would you say?
She called me a devil recruiting activist or something.
I mean, it says everything. You see how you can't even say anything opposing to these trans people.
She's
This
not
isn't a,
even trans.
She's not.
oh my God. You've got to be kidding me.
And she's not even a trans. She doesn't support trans people. And I said,
What?
hang on. So can we just, I said, can we hang on a second here? I said, just a person can socially transition under the age of 18. Having a little backlash from friends after is not going to have the long lasting side effects that a medical transition can have. I
Totally.
never said that to her, but that's what I felt like shouting through the
Mhm,
screen and saying to her is that
mhm.
I am not a devil recruiting activist. I am not this crazy woke activist that people think I am. And
Wow.
like most trans people that are not crazy on the media do not think like these crazy radical
That's right.
people that tend to be calling themselves things that they are not.
That's right.
And I said, so get off this crazy woke internet BS that people claim to say and go and actually talk to people.
There you go. There you go. You're smart.
The
You're
devil
you got a great
activist.
future
My
ahead of you,
God.
kid. No, it's
Did
so
you hear
true.
that
It's the
movie?
internet. It's the internet. It's made kids have lots of mental health issues. And not just it's not trans, it's something else. They're dealing with something and they're just seeing trans as a I think as a way to sort of belong, right?
But that's kind of our fault too, because we put gender stereotypes on people. Like if a woman has short hair, she's a male, and it's
Unbelievable.
not true because it's your
No,
biology that determines
that's right.
your 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 biological sex.
Remember, this is an 18-year-old, everybody out there. This is an 18-year-old who I just met. And so I want you all to know that not all young trans people believe what's happening is that biology is a social construct or anyone can be trans or this guy right here I believe that you really are transsexual and you have a great head on your shoulder. And yeah, it feels like you're
Yes.
taking your time. You're taking your time. And I think with a great mom like you have, it feels like you're taking, it in stride.
I should always tell people to listen to Trampa.
I'm only here because I care about you. I don't know everything. I only know what it did for me as an older person. And,
Yeah.
you know, and I believe that some people like yourself will benefit from transitioning, but I don't think the amount of young people who are saying they're trans are truly trans people.
Yes.
Yeah, children change their minds a lot during play, you know. I mean, so how do you know they're trans? Just because they say they want to be a girl one day? Oh, well, I wanted to be Superman when I was a kid, you know. But I can't. You know?
Yeah, but
Like
I think Coda, you have a very supportive household, which also is very important when
like
you're
if a kid says you're
transitioning.
trans, don't say you're not. Just don't affirm it, but just don't make the child feel useless either.
That's right. That's right. So that's what I always say. I'm a parent of an 11-year-old. If my kid came to me and said I'm trans, I'd be like, well, what does that mean? I would question, and I would kind of take him. The first thing I would put him is in therapy, like you did, Mom. Brilliant. But I wouldn't just
Mhm.
take it at face
Actually,
value,
they
just
went
because.
on their own
Wow,
therapy. Not much. I didn't even know much about this trans thing till much
wow.
later.
Till much later. But you went to therapy, which is that's all I advocate for is therapy and years of it before you take medicine. Because what you're
Does your
doing
child
is
know you're trans?
irreversible. Sorry?
Does your son know you're trans?
No, we don't talk about that because he's 11 and it's not, I adopted him when he was 6. And I don't necessarily think it's important because you remember what I said earlier? I live as a man. I don't live as a trans person. So I had what we used to call, right, a sex change, even though I didn't change my sex. I live in a space where I'm a man and he sees me as his stepdad and, me and his mom are husband and wife. And you know what I mean? Just a very normal situation. Now, when I get older and he finds out who I am, I mean, when he gets older and finds out who I am, of course, we're going to have the conversation. But for me, it's him just seeing me as his dad, and
For me, I
moving.
think it would be important to tell the kid
Mhm,
because I think it would be just important for
mhm.
future references. I don't know.
Of course, when he's old enough, I think. But right now, I don't think it's necessary because I don't want to confuse him. And then it could be confusing for a young person to sort of for me to try to get him to understand. Well, I was born a woman and I became a man. It's just it's confusing, and I think that's what's happening to young people today. They're being confused about what it means to be a girl and a boy, right? And they're being confused about that. They're being told they can be a girl but become a boy. That's just not true. You're never going to change your biological sex ever.
Like for me, I think I would tell the child early on because I would feel
Hmm.
like I'm lying to myself.
Hmm.
That's
I
just
see
me,
that.
but
That's right, and that's totally okay, and I respect that a lot. And I think that's the thing which we need to understand. People just do things differently, right? And
and I would
that's
tell the
okay.
child I'm not going to ever become a man because I can't. It's just,
Yeah.
the tooth fairy didn't switch that. So,
That's right. I mean, he knows what trans is because I live in California and that's all they talk about here. So he knows what all of that is. We have a gay uncle, we have a very open family kind of situation. So he's around all of that. Just for me, I felt like I wanted him to see me as a man and not as a trans person because trans is so political now. It's not like it was
how
when
did
I
it become
trans.
so bad? Like, what happened?
It's a great
I
question.
never heard of.
It's
well,
a great
when one
How
question.
did it
person,
just? They never stop talking about it now. I
Never.
don't get it. Where did it come from?
when one
Money.
person says things on the internet, everybody
I hate
sees
the
it.
internet. You know now
I hate the internet. I hate it. I hate it. It's so
because
gross.
it's so much negativity out there. Why? Like they didn't have this problems years ago. Mind you, they didn't have the internet
That's right.
back
That's
then.
right.
But
That's right.
but
That's right.
I don't know. It just recently, I think I see it a lot more, and I'm just like, why is this a big issue now? But a
Well,
lot
there's
of people have
money.
gone
I do
crazy.
believe. Yeah, and then also, kids get attached to things so easy. When I was a kid, it was punk rock or emo or new wave or whatever, right? Kids get attached. Trans is a sort of club. It's not about what me and Coda are dealing with. It's more about the cool thing to be. And I think that's why so many. So it's also being talked about a lot, especially in America. I do believe because there's a lot of money attached to it. And, once you medicalize, me and him are medicalized for life. So we always have to be
Yes,
on.
and I always make sure that my therapist told me something that really really caught my eye, and they said that the reason you've been at this clinic and the reason that you're waiting for top surgery is because you need therapy. You need
Mm,
therapy, which is good,
But I
right?
don't get why the other one is so early.
Because
The bottom surgery is
the
a lot
hysterectomy.
earlier. I don't
Yeah,
understand that. Why they're not waiting.
but they're doing a
right.
lot of therapy appointments with me.
Are they
Really?
explaining so I agree, Mom. I'm wondering why they're giving you a hysterectomy before are you did they talk to you about saving any of your eggs?
Uh, yes, but that costs thousands of dollars, and I don't feel like doing that.
Oh, it's not part of the. So is your hysterectomy paid for under the
Yeah,
medical, Canadian medical,
yeah.
but saving your eggs is not? Oh, that's
No.
very interesting. So
And
do you
they're
see what I'm
making
getting
me
at?
Mm-hmm.
wait another 6 months to do therapy and stuff, which is good. Right? They're not just signing me up for things and say, here, go there and get your eggs out and take
Okay,
this and that.
right, right. But if you wanted to save your eggs for future parenting down the road, that would cost you your own money out of your own pocket.
Yes, and I would
Oh,
rather adopt
good for you. Good for
because
you.
I'm too afraid to have kids now of my own because
Yeah,
of this crazy radical. I would rather adopt a kid that's already on Earth.
no, I hear you. No, I think that says a lot about you. I mean, why you don't have to have your own. You can adopt. There's tons. That's what I did. But I wanted to know if they told you because I hear from other people that they never told them to save their eggs or even offered that. And now these people are detransitioning and they want to have kids of their own and they can't because they had the hysterectomy, which is sad,
And
right? That
what I want people to know is it's not fun to be trans at some point.
there you go. Right on.
And I know some trans kids that are not on medical hormones and they are okay with it, but even socially, it can be hard sometimes when people, you know,
Hmm.
don't
Hmm.
say anything, right? I mean, that's
Hmm.
okay. And I mean, people have the right to their opinions, but we don't just walk away. If they're going to start, pestering you in the store, and just the
Hmm.
best thing to do is just walk away.
Totally agree with you. That's right. That's the adult thing to do. You don't need to engage with crazy people. It's not going to accomplish anything. So that's a great attitude that you have. What would you say, Coda, if you were speaking in front of a bunch of young 16-year-old kids that said they're trans right now without any therapy or anything? What would you say to kids who are claiming to be trans?
Do therapy,
Mm,
please. Please, if your doctor is not willing to do it, talk to somebody. Talk to real trans people.
mm,
And
great.
if you're going to listen to people on TikTok, listen to people that actually care about the community. And
Excellent.
there is different ways to transition. Like I don't know, like medically, but I think there's naturopathic ways too. But that's not being talked about.
You're right.
Why isn't that? If they truly cared about this community, why aren't they talking about medical transition in different ways that are not going to permanently harm you?
That's such a great question. That is an excellent question. I say the same thing. Why are they only pushing people to take hormones and puberty blockers? There's other ways to transition without being medicalized. There are natural pathic ways to do it for sure. But I agree with you. I always come back to the money. There's a lot of money, surgery, hormones, forever. Think about how much money, who's making that money? The governments, the pharmaceutical companies, the surge. There's a surgeon here in America who's in Florida who probably does one to two top, I think even more, a day, a day. Just two times top surgeries a day is 60 top surgeries a month. And let's say each one costs 5,000 US dollars. So that's 10,000 US dollars times, I mean, come on, do the numbers. Ha- there's a lot of money.
Um, That's crazy.
Now, for non-binary people, if they need to go and do surgery, that's okay. But just please, please be careful with what you're doing. Now, I
So,
can't stop parents from transitioning their kids. I can't. I can advise people, but
mhm.
I cannot say, I can't, go down to their house with the hammer and say, listen to me here.
Although you want to sometimes.
Well, cause I think you see, like I do, you see the train crash before it's crashing. Me and you both see it, and we're like, oh,
And
oh, but no one's
I've
listening
been through a
to.
lot of medical stuff because my dad died of cancer.
Oh
So
no, I'm
I've seen
sorry.
a lot of stuff that isn't right. And I can see what medication does to you. So that's why I always push back on it. And I always say, hey, hang on, kiddos. Like, if you want to transition, and this is for anybody, I don't care how old you are. If
Mm,
you need to transition, go for it. But please, please do your research. Please, please do not just rush into this
there you
because
go.
there is no rushing out.
Ah, great statement. Don't
I
rush in
remember
because there's no
hearing this
rushing.
one child say to another, um, this one little child thought this boy was a girl because he had long hair. But anyways, it was kind of funny. But yeah, and I kept on insisting, and then he finally said, "No, I'm not a girl."
Mhm.
And she didn't want to believe that, and he said, "Look, I'm not a girl. I'm a boy, and I'm not trans." And I'm just like, and,
That's where we
and I
are
go,
now.
"There you go. He
There
told you
you
what you
go.
stick with what he told you."
And a lot of people hate the
But
term
he just said
cis.
it. He made it very clear.
I'm not a girl,
I'm not trans, and I'm not trans.
and I'm
He
not
just has
trans.
long hair.
I think a lot of
Well,
people hate the term
see
cis.
what it's doing to people? It's making people crazy. People
It
are
totally
saying that.
is. It's making people angry, and you're right, Coda. A lot of people I know, and I don't use the word cis, by the way. A
They
lot
don't
of
like it.
people. Yeah, that's right. There you go. So people, why are we not listening to you? It's like we want the trans community wants everyone to respect their pronouns, that what they call themselves, blah blah blah. No one has an issue with that, but the fact is that they don't do the same respect when they're asking when let's use mom for example. Mom doesn't want to be called sis. Don't call her sis. But there you are calling her sis. So that's the hypocrisy of the trans activism, right?
I use the term cis because my little head cannot get around all these things and I need to determine biology from fact. That's what I have to do. But if
Okay,
someone says, do not call me cis, I'm not going to do that. And unless there's a medical form and says, are you cis? And there's no other medical terminology, then I have to use it. But I
that's
will
right.
not go out of my way and say, come here,
That's right.
cis. I'm going to call
That's right.
you what you want me to call you.
That's called respect. Because respect gets respect. If I want someone to call me he, which I want them to, and I'm calling them sis when they ask me not to, then they're not going to call me he. They're going to call me she. That's how the
What
game
these
works, people.
what these radical trans activists don't understand is what goes around comes around.
There you go. Great statement. There you go. It's true.
And
Well, how did we get here? How do you think we got to a space where trans people are the predominant majority of what and how we are conducting our English language, how we walk through the world, what bathrooms we wear? And if you think about it, it's the trans narrative that's really taken a hold of how.
I think a lot of the time it has a lot to do with doctors hiding stuff too. Sometimes, like
Mm,
uh, they had the term cis in the I can't remember what DSM-5 it was. I
mm,
don't know what DSM it was, but I
mm.
think it was there for quite a long time. And when
Oh,
people just bring stuff out, they're going to be in shock. So just I think this crazy narrative got with one person, and then it spread, and then someone shared it, and then it just went all around this craziness, and then
right, right. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It just took a hold, and I
I've
think
never heard that
TikTok.
word cis before
Me neither.
until recently.
yeah, me neither.
That's
And
right.
it's just like, what in the world is cis? And they're changing grammar. I've never had a problem with pronouns before, but now I hate them.
I know we all hate them.
I'm just
I
like,
mean, I'm not going to call my mom a birthing person. It's just not going to happen. I'm not going to
no,
do it.
Like if someone
it drives
calls,
me crazy.
like if someone asks me to call them they, that's okay.
That's okay. Who cares? That's right.
Like if this kid came up to me and said, "Call me they," I'm gonna call you they. I'm gonna respect you,
That's
but
right.
do not force people to. Don't get mad at people if they call you by the wrong pronoun. Please, there's a lot worse things in the world to worry about.
It's a fake fight. It's an actual fake fight that they're creating, and they
And
want to be in it.
true non-binary people, they don't get mad over that. And
That's
I have
right.
many non-binary friends who do not like outside of this crazy radical trans thing
That's right.
online. Most of them don't really care what you call
They
them
don't. That's right. That's
because
true non-binary.
it's
Hmm.
craziness. People would get mad, and they like like I'm going to tell you this funny story. It was in Calgary, I think. This guy came into this store with his wife, I think,
Mhm.
or the restaurant or whatever, and the
Mhm.
waitress said, "Are you sure that's your wife?"
What? What?
It was on the news, and this person said, uh, you know, went to sit them down at the table at the restaurant, the waitress, and the guy said, "I would like something for my wife and myself." And the guy said, "Are you sure that's your wife? Are you sure she's a woman?" I'm just like, pardon me.
What? Wow. That's where we gotten. I get it. That's where we're at now. That's it.
But you
Everyone's
said it's a
questioning.
joke.
I know. That's
But why would
exactly
you
right.
question? The guy said it's his wife. Then leave it.
But here
Doesn't
we
matter
are
if it's
now.
well, just leave it. Whatever. I just thought it was funny. I said, "What? That would be
It's
so offensive. I'd be so mad."
well,
Oh my goodness.
again, trans activists created this space where now we're questioning what is a woman. I mean, come on, shut up.
Yeah, but
Just
the guy said it's his wife.
I
So why
know.
the question? Why would you do that?
Because we've made everybody insane. We've made everybody insane. But I don't
They,
know why
I
people.
mean, they say you have to ask your pronouns. Pronouns, okay, is one thing, but questioning if that's his wife when he's told you that's his wife,
I think he
what?
was messing around. I think he was showing you how crazy the world has. Are you sure
It could
that's a
have been.
woman? Yeah. You sure that's a woman? You sure that's your wife? Like that's where we are now. So
And
let
then
me
you have
ask you.
people.
You you
Yeah, go
you
ahead.
you, you know that teacher in Canada, the one with the gigantic boobs? I don't know. I think
No.
it's in Vancouver. I can't remember where it is. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's in one part of Canada where there's a shop teacher at a high school who identifies as trans and just put on a gigantic pair of fake boobs that are like double, triple D's and goes to school teaching shop class to a bunch of boys. And the Canadian school system is just like, well, we have to validate their identity. I'm thinking we've lost it. We've lost our
Yes,
minds.
we have.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have in a
Oh my
lot of ways.
goodness.
Like, look,
I have to look that up. Is that
Look it
where is
up.
that?
Look it
Thank
up.
you.
I think it's Vancouver. I can't remember where. I'll also send you. I'll email you the link to it because you have to see it. I can't believe you don't know about it. It's huge here in America. We use it a lot because that guy is not trans. He is using the trans space to fetishize himself, as far as I'm concerned. What?
and
How
what
weird.
these crazy radical trans activists do when someone detransitions, they ban them, they cancel them,
That's
and
right.
I'm just like,
That's right.
okay, well, hang on, you want somebody to respect you, but then
That's
when
right.
somebody doesn't respect you, you get really mad.
That's right.
And a lot of trans people here would say, "Excuse me, here, hang on, what, why don't we just respect each other? Hang on."
You know. I don't
And you have
know.
people like Marcus and Blair, and people are calling you transphobic, and I'm just like, how are you transphobic? You're trans.
Because they're idiots and they don't, and I'm also an elder in this community. It's so disrespectful. But that's because they're not really like me and you. They're trying to hide something, and they come after people like us who speak
Yes,
truth.
they do. And
Hmm.
There's
That's
people
right.
like trans agers, and I go, what is that?
What? Oh my God. Trans animals. There's trans everything now. Trans animals, trans whatever, neo pronouns. I mean, it's gone off the deep end.
Minor attracted children. Like, I don't know what.
Oh, you shouldn't. That's actual. The other thing, I'm not going to
It's
say it on YouTube.
pedophilia. That's it.
That's exactly what it
What
is.
that word
That's
is.
okay. Don't worry. I'll take it out. Don't worry. No, 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 no,
No,
no.
no,
Because you can't
that's
even
what I
say
think.
it.
That's exactly
Yeah,
what it is. It's pedophilia.
it is.
I'm not going to make it
100%.
look nice. It's not what it's not. It's not what it's not
That's
nice.
right.
Next
It's
thing you
not.
know, we're going to have people that are minor attracted necrophiliacs. You know what I mean?
Oh, no. It's a slippery slope, friend. Kids are off limits. Kids are
and
off
that's
limits.
that's
That's
what I
it.
tell people. And why would you call it minor attracted children? Because a child is a minor, and you are attracted to another minor, which is okay. If
That's
a
different.
child is attracted to a minor,
That's
which
different.
is fine because they are a minor, and you're
That's
calling it
right.
minor attracted children, which makes it sound like children are crazy for being attracted to each other because you're saying minor attracted children. Well, why don't you come up with something more better that says adult attracted to child?
Yeah.
Because that's called pedophilia and that's illegal, and that's why they change it to MAPS, minor attracted person, so that way they can slip under the radar, and then they're attaching it to trans. That's where I'm like, no, go away. I'm not. What do you mean? And WPATH is trying to act like MAPS is part of
Yeah,
being
attracted to
trans.
necrophilia. Next
Yeah,
thing you're going to get
or
rid of
animals. Next thing
and
you know, it's going
accept.
to be, yeah, like what? That has nothing to do with being trans. That's a whole other
And
medical,
that's what I tell
mental
That's scary.
illness. That's
Being attracted
scary.
to a dead person. That I would. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard it
It's
yet, but
real.
I'm wondering
No,
when
no, no,
we
that's a
can.
real thing people have,
right.
but that's
I
nothing.
know,
That's a mental illness.
Most
Yeah.
I know,
LGBTQ
but
plus people do not support that. It's those
No, they
crazy
don't.
they might
radical.
want to put it in there,
They
It's
might.
those
They
crazy
might.
radical
and that's what
people.
it's going to drive me crazy, Nick. You know, not every LGBT person is crazy. You know,
No, far from it. We're there's the majority of us are very sane. It's the idiots on the internet with large platforms with
And
millions of
that's what I tell
followers.
people.
yeah, I
Yep.
Most
know.
LGBT people are agreeing with me
Nope.
that it's those crazy radical people
That's right.
that keep making us all look like we're
That's right.
insane people. We're just
That's
like
right.
you and me. Like we're just
That's
like
right.
you. You know,
That's
like
right.
we
It's
heterosexual people
sad.
can be pedophiles.
A
Yeah,
hundred percent.
and
Yeah, but
yes,
now it looks like we are because we're doing weird stuff with kids.
And like if you've seen a trans person walking down the street with a kid, that doesn't mean they're a pedophile. They could be just walking down the street. And people have to understand you don't just jump into conclusions.
That's right.
And I don't know where these adults are not understanding that you don't believe everything you read off the internet.
I know. It's
What,
we've
why?
regressed.
Like, if someone told you to go drink bleach, would you do it?
Well, some people might actually.
It
But
happened in
yeah,
Canada during the pandemic. They said that people were drinking bleach because Trump told them to. And I'm just
that's
like, what,
true.
are you an idiot? Like, why
Yeah,
would you?
people are
I
idiots now
know,
because the
because they
internet
want to
has
get rid of
created.
COVID or something. Huh?
But
Yeah, it was a
why would you
COVID
drink
thing.
bleach?
Because people are idiots and they're followers. Remember that. That the trans community just shows you the people follow. TikTok, why do you think TikTok is so huge? Because people get followed and they get this adrenaline flow and people are like, "Woo, we're all trans joy, happy, happy, happy." They're not happy people. They're angry, mean, disconnected people. And
Like, okay, a trans person can be happy. We have to
well,
celebrate them
yeah.
too. But we have to
Yeah.
be careful with what we're putting on the internet. Like, and if you say that, like, I say to people, like, if you talk to trans people, just be nice. And if you say I disagree, don't say
That's right.
I can just don't say disagree because
That's right.
say that you disagree so that people understand what you're coming from.
There you go. There you go. That's from an 18-year-old, everybody. There you go. Who clearly has his head screwed on, right? And because he has a good mom who
That's what I
is
tell people is that
supportive.
if we bring this agree to disagree back, then we're gonna be fine.
That's well, well, you know what? I just think you're so awesome, my friend. So so with that, we're gonna end because we're about an hour now, and you know, people pretty much after an hour don't want to listen anymore. But you're awesome. You two are so beautiful, and I just do you want to leave something, Coda, to people out there from an 18-year-old transsexual man? Do you have any wisdom?
Um, yes, if you have the flag, just spread love with the flag. That
Excellent.
I have the trans flag tattooed on me,
Wow.
actually, and
Wow.
I if you don't like politics, just stay away from it. But also remember that even if you are trans, it doesn't mean that you're this crazy radical person. And if you're any LGBT, that doesn't mean you're a pedophile. Okay, don't let people put that into your head.
Right.
And if you are a femboy and you like to be a femboy, stay that way. Don't let people pressure you.
Right. Excellent.
And
Beautiful.
love yourself.
Aw, you're so sweet. Um, thanks everybody. Remember, like, subscribe, you know, ring the bell, send this all to your friends. The more people that subscribe to my channel, the more of this stuff can happen. And I totally appreciate everybody out there. It means a lot to me that you listen to these interviews. And send these two some love, okay? Because, you know, I love when I read the comments and you're very, very, very loving to these people who put themselves out there. So have a great day, and I'll see you guys at the
You
live.
too.